I'm just going to speak into that end here. This is Suzanne Fernando, Veteran Voices. I am here in Largs with the amazing Jack Ranson. Jack, welcome to Veteran Voices. How are you?
Thank you. Very well at the moment. I touch wood. And
just remind our listeners, Jack, who you are, where you served, how long you served.
Well, I was born in Peckham in London. And the only place you'll know about Peckham because it's featured in Del Boy in the BBC publication of Only Fools and Horses. So I was born in Peckham in 1920. So at the moment I'm 99 years of age and I'm within 8 months of reaching my 100th birthday.
Wow.
So I'm hoping for my card for the Queen.
Yes.
Next April the 15th. Recently, in respect of that, there was 2 items in the daily paper regarding the future enrolment of the new Japanese premier, and also at the same time, it's the anniversary last week of the surrender of Japan. And as I say, the other article was about the reaching the throne of the new Japanese emperor. And I took the opportunity to send a letter to the Daily Mail, which was published in the Daily Mail, where I pointed out that as far as I was concerned, all my troubles of the past as a prisoner of war of the Japanese were past, and that I had no resentment at all against the Japanese people, because I looked at it this way. My release from being a prisoner of war, very rapid, was due to the fact that 2 atom bombs were dropped on the civilians in Japan. And in view of the terrible scenes that must have existed at that time, I feel that we should now be all at peace with one another, and therefore I bear no resentment whatsoever towards the Japanese people. And that maybe when I get my greetings from Her Majesty next year in 8 months' time, that maybe the new Emperor of Japan perhaps might send me also greetings. It's a lot to ask, but maybe that is possible. I was born in 1920, and in early 1939, I joined the army. I joined the territorials. I joined it. You must excuse me if I.
No, not at all.
I joined the Territorial Army in the early just after New Year in 1939. Mainly because at that time, people in Britain were well aware of the situation that was growing on the continent of Europe. In the summer of that year, 1939, I went on a camp with the Royal Artillery to Devon, and then came back to my job. And of course, in September, early September, we got the call to report to the local barracks. So when war was declared on the 3rd of September 1939 by Neville Chamberlain, I was already in uniform in barracks at Woolwich. And although I could see from my barrack window where my mother and father lived on a shooter's hill in Eltham, they had no idea what had happened to me and assumed that I'd already gone to France. We didn't go to France, luckily, so we were not involved in the Dunkirk situation. Mm-hmm. However, the next 2 years were more or less involved in visiting most parts of the UK. And gradually, of course, trying to get equipped with the proper guns and equipment as an artillery regiment should be. We didn't get our full equipment until we were posted as a regiment to Scotland in the latter part of 1940. When I came to the borders in Scotland and met there my first Scottish wife. Helen worked in a paper shop in Peebles, and we had a brief courtship, I would say, until early in the new year of 1941, we again were posted to the Midlands. Eventually, of course, we then got ready for embarkation leave mm-hmm. in late 1941, August or September, I think. And then on embarkation leave, Helen and I got engaged in what was 7 days embarkation leave. In my book, I mentioned that we were not rich people, and the engagement ring, which cost the princely sum of £9, was bought in a little jeweller's at the top of Leith Walk in Edinburgh, and cost £9, which we clubbed together. Off I went on embarkation leave, and we were the first troops to be escorted and carried by the United States, which was in November 1941. On our way to the Far East, as we thought in those days, we called in at Cape Town in South Africa. And of course, it was then, at that time, that Japan declared war on the United States with Pearl Harbor. So in actual fact, we were being escorted and carried by the United States as British troops before war was declared between USA and Japan. We spent about 3 weeks to a month in India while the powers that be tried to make up their mind whether to send us, as we were originally intended to be, to North Africa. We were camouflaged for North Africa. We had yellow paint. But in view of the situation as it became very desperate in the Far East, and being persuaded by Australia that Britain should do far more than it was doing actually in the Far East, that we should be redirected to Singapore. Unfortunately, things moved so rapidly in Malaysia that by the time we got to Singapore and disembarked on Singapore Island, the Japanese were already occupied right down to the very tip of Malaysia. In fact, we got onto Singapore Island but never got off it. I think most people will know that owing to the circumstances in Singapore at the time, with water supply and inability to defend what was quite a large perimeter of the island, the water and the power, etc., were taken over by the Japanese, and the officers and government of Singapore were forced to surrender the island and the forces. So, on the 15th of February 1942, I became a prisoner of war of the Japanese. And I was to spend the next 3.5 years as a prisoner of war. At first, it didn't seem too bad. The Japanese guards left us alone, and we were more or less left to our own devices. But later on, the Japanese decided, in view of the situation in Burma, which their forces had reached and almost overrun, they needed a supply route to Burma. And they decided that they would... Where do you want me to start again?
Just go back to...
Yeah. Well, as I said, all these various ailments, diseases, etc., took a toll on the workforce. Some of my best friends died. You worked from dusk to dawn, and when you came home to the camp, I call it home, but it was a camp. When came back to the camp at dusk from doing a full day's work, unfortunately you had the job of dealing with your comrades that had died that day. And there was only one way of dealing with that, and that was by burning the bodies in order to combat the various diseases that were rife. Eventually the railway was finished, and the Japanese then took us back from our camp, which was on the Thai-Burma border, back to the base camp at Kanchanaburi. We know it as Kamburi. And there we recouped, as it were, and the Japanese then made a decision as to what they would do with surviving prisoners of war. And they decided to split them into 2 batches, or 3 batches rather. One small batch was to remain on the railway to maintain it. One batch of prisoners was to be transported to Japan to work in the coal mines, and the other batch was to be sent back to Singapore. Luckily for me, I was on the batch going back to Singapore. I say that because those that went to Japan, many of them didn't get there because their transports were sunk by United States submarines. The remainder of that particular party eventually worked under very bad conditions in the coal mines in Japan. I went, therefore, back to Singapore, and there the Japanese had further work for us to do, which was digging. At that time, of course, you must understand that the tides of war against Japan were beginning to turn. The United States were having successes in the Pacific, and also the tide has began to turn in Burma. Therefore, the Japanese decided that the prisoner of war in Singapore would build what they say were defense tunnels in Singapore for the defense of Singapore and Malaya in eventuality of landings by the Allied forces later on in the war in Malaya and Singapore. So I worked on digging tunnels. Not easy. It was done again without any equipment of any kind, and we had some near escapes with falling, of course, roofs of tunnels and things like that. The war went on. We had no idea, for example, that landings had been made in Europe by the Allied forces. We had no idea of D-Day in Europe. So we just hoped. The first hope that we had came from aeroplanes. A huge fleet of B-29s, United States' largest planes, came across Singapore one afternoon, flying fortresses. And of course, this cheered us up immensely, because there were, I would say, must have been at least 2 dozen. But of course, that was in the latter part of 1944. And soon we got into 1945. Rations got bad, rations got worse. And with the work on the tunnels in Singapore, I gradually lost weight. Eventually, of course, the atom bombs were dropped. We had no idea, we had no news about the atom bombs, but it came as a surprise to us that one morning, when going to the gates of Changi prison, that the Japanese guards did not turn up. This we did not understand. This was quite unusual, to escort us to our work. The next day, they didn't turn up again. And then, of course, the rumours started to fly. And then, one morning, we looked out the gates, and along came a paratrooper, one of ours. And we realized then that we were free. Things happened very rapidly after that. Mountbatten arrived, of course. Earl Mountbatten arrived. He took the surrender of the Japanese in Singapore. And eventually, Lady Mountbatten came up to Singapore. And we turned out a guard of honor for a prisoner of war guard of honour. Must have been pretty horrendous from his point of view, but it was a prisoner of war guard of honour. Well, I don't think any one of us was dressed the same as the next chap standing next to us. But we turned out a prisoner of war guard of honour for Earl Mountbatten, which he inspected as if he was inspecting Grenadier Guards or even a regiment of the line. And eventually our transport back to England was arranged. We came back home on a Polish vessel, Sobieski, and docked in Liverpool. The Women's Land Forces took us by car back to London, and I got home in November 1945. It was all over. Never forgotten my experiences. I always, after that, wanted to go back. I started work again in London with my old company, but finding a house in London was very, very difficult. And eventually, Helen, who I had got engaged to in 1941, the end of 1941, we met up again in 1945. By this time, she was a corporal in the WAFs, and she came down to Catterick on a train to meet me. In that time of 3.5 years, she had 2 postcards from me. She didn't know whether I was alive or dead until I sent a telegram to her up in Catterick, and we met at King's Cross Station. I'll never forget that day. She came off the train, I might say, with 400 out of the WAFs. Difficult to recognise her, but I did. And of course, we got married in 1947. I lost Helen at the age of 57. She was 57 when she died in Birmingham. But I've been lucky since. I met Maddie. We met in 2009, and we got married in 2010. So next year, when I'm 100, Maddie and I will have been married 10 years.
Beautiful.
My second Scottish wife. And I'm a lucky man. I'm a lucky man. What can I say? Can't say any more, really.
So how do you want to celebrate your 100th?
Very, very quietly.
I very much doubt that's going to happen, Jack.
I'm hoping that
Yes.
I've got to get there yet, of course. God willing.
Oh,
God willing. I've got to get there. I'm hoping for the card from Her Majesty. I hope to meet Her Majesty, maybe. Never know. I tried very hard to meet Her Majesty at a garden party in 2016. Couldn't get there. The crush was too big. Yeah. I met Princess Anne, and that's in my book. I'll show you these. I met Princess Anne, had a good chat with her, but I'd like to meet the Queen because it's in my book. I met her grandmother.
Wow.
When I was 6.
Right.
As the son of a soldier, my father, in the First World War, I was put in a nursery home in London, in Deptford, which was solely for the children of ex-servicemen. And the Queen's grandmother, Queen Mary, was patron of that home, nursing home. And I met her when I was 6 years of age. in 1926. I think it was 1926. And apparently I chatted away, and in fact I was talked too much because my mother told me to shut up. So she says. But I met Queen Mary, and I can remember her because Queen Mary was an imposing lady.
Yes.
You couldn't miss Queen Mary. Tall, silver brocade, parasol, tall hat, marvellous woman. But that year, 1926, that was in the summer 1926. So it must have been just a few weeks after the Queen was born, because she was born in April 1926.
Right.
Because I was 6 in the 15th of April. The Queen was born about a week later in that year, and I was 6 in that year. So that must have been 1926. And so I'd like to say to the Queen, I met your grandmother. I would also like to say to Prince Philip, but I don't know how Prince Philip is these days, I met your uncle. I was guard of honour after he signed the surrender to the Japanese. I met him at Singapore, at Changi Jail. We turned out a guard of honour for your uncle. The Prince Charles might be very interested in that too, because he also was looked after by Earl Mountbatten before, of course, as you know, Earl Mountbatten was killed by the Irish bombing. I believe Charles is going to the inauguration, or what they call it. It's a kind of sort of setting up of the new emperor in October. He's going out there. And I said to Gary, Gary, well, if you get a chance, tell Prince Charles, because he's up in Balmoral doing photographs. Tell Prince Charles about that. You read that, I'll leave it.
Yes.
About me.
Does he have a copy of your book?
Yes, Queen's got a copy of my book.
Good.
Princess Anne's got a copy of my book.
Have you got a bucket list, Jack? Have you got a bucket list? And have you completed anything on your bucket list?
Well, I'm just waiting to be my 100th birthday.
And you want to meet the Queen?
I'd like to meet the Queen. And I would have liked to have met Prince Philip.
We met Princess Anne.
Yeah.
We met Princess Anne.
At the garden party.
I'd like to meet Prince Philip, and I'll tell you why, because we had a previous chap here that was 100.
Well, I like a challenge, Jack.
Yeah.
So just
but whether or not I would get to meet the Queen, I don't know. But one never knows. She could turn up here one day. I don't know. I can't. I'm limited to what I can do in the way of movement these days. But that's my life. It's in the book. I think you have to read the book, really.
Yeah, definitely.
I had a great... it's not just about the war, by the way, the book. It's about my life.
Yeah.
As a child, as a boy, in the 20s and 30s, living in London was very difficult then.
Yeah.
We lived in a little terraced house. We had no running water. We had no bathroom. Outside toilet. Those were the days of outside toilets, no electricity.
Yeah.
Gas, we had gas. A copper boiler, which my mother used to do clothes. An outside toilet. No running water, as I say. Terrace house in Deptford. Well, it was on the borders of Deptford and Greenwich. Greenwich Park was my playground as a boy. I loved the Thames. I loved the paddle steamers. Same as in Glasgow, you had the paddle steamers. We had the paddle steamers. I loved that. I loved my life as a boy, and I won a couple of scholarships. Managed to get to a secondary school. Well, that's the only way you could get to a secondary school in those days. You had to win a scholarship.
Yeah. And so, what did you go on to do after school?
When I was 17, I looked for a job in London.
Right.
Everybody there says, get information you got was, get a job with a pension. Whatever you do, get a job with a pension. Either insurance or banks.
Right.
So eventually I got a job in an insurance company. And I had a job sitting in the window, assistant cashier, looking straight down Cheapside. I don't know if you know London, do you?
Not very well, no.
Well, it's at the back of St Paul's,
Mm-hmm.
the office. I don't think it's there now. And my office looks straight down Cheapside towards the bank. On the left was the Guildhall. Right. So all the processions came round the back of St Paul's with notables, went down Cheapside, turned into Guildhall, where they were treated to a lunch by the Lord Mayor of London. So I saw all the processions, enjoyed it. I saw the King of Albania, I think it was, with his breastplate, and all. We saw them all. It was marvellous.
And did you?
I enjoyed that joy. But then, you see, we couldn't get Helen came up, and we got married for a year, but we couldn't get a house. The bombing in London, you see, no houses, no nothing. I had a little bit of money from my gratuity, £500, I think it was, and it wasn't enough to buy a house. People could come. A house could be on sale in the paper at 6:30 in the morning. It was sold by 7:30 with somebody that had £1,000. I didn't have £1,000. Only £500. I couldn't get a house. Then out of the blue came a letter from Peebles to Helen, from her mother. Your granny has just died, and the little flat at 5A, Rosetta Road, Peebles, was available. And Helen said to me, well, it's a house in Peebles. So I went to my boss in the office at Cheapside and said, is there any way you can give me a job in Edinburgh? Because I knew Edinburgh was the nearest big town to Peebles. And he said, no, sorry, we hadn't. Nothing at all. I said, well, I'm afraid, but I have to give him a notice in. He said, well, sorry, Jack. He said, I'm sorry to lose you because you're assistant cashier. And the cashier was getting on in age. But there it was. Chance of improvement, promotion, out the window, take a chance. 2 companies in Edinburgh. Who do I write to? Standard Life, Scottish Widows. Wrote 2 letters, exactly the same, to both of them. Can you give me a job? I'm an insurance clerk in London. The Scottish Widows says, we'll think about it. We'll put you on our list. The Standard says, can you start next week?
So how long did you stay with them?
Until I retired.
Wow.
So there you are. So we moved in the worst winter of the year, 1947. You wouldn't remember it, but there you are. 1947 winter was the worst in the history. Snow was 2 feet deep in Peebles. We arrived with our little few belongings, 1 bed, a mattress or something, I can't remember what. And there we were in Peebles, in our batten bed. We slept on the floor, it was hellish. I mean, our flat in Peebles didn't have the big conveniences either, but it was home. It was our own place. And therefore, I set out on the Monday morning, first Monday in March, 1947. First Monday in March 1947. I set out to come to Edinburgh. Train never got through. Snow was on the ground. In the first week with my new job, I only got in on 2 days. I fully expected to be handed my what was it, P45, and say, Jack Ranson, we don't want you. You can't get here to your job. But they didn't. and things got better.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And I started with a standard life and got on very well with them. I worked my way up. Eventually, unfortunately, I lived in Peoples. I enjoyed Peoples. I became involved in Peoples. I became secretary of the Peoples Football Club. We lived in Peoples. We had people we knew, and we enjoyed, and people. Helen was a Peoples girl. And that made all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
But in that was about 1974, I think it was, 1973, 1974, the Standard said to me, we're opening a new regional office in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
Jack, we'd like you to go and open the office there. Promotion.
Mm-hmm.
Or, if you turn it down, full stop. Now, what would you do? Loved Peoples, enjoyed the friends in Peoples. Promotion or full stop, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I took it. Well, Helen says, you take it. She says, take it. So down to London, like all people that work in executive positions in Birmingham, where they live is Solihull.
Right.
No, anybody that goes to an executive job in Birmingham lives in Solihull, which we did.
Mm-hmm.
Helen, unfortunately, as I say, died at 57. She had an illness which she never got over. So, eventually, when I got retired and everything, and got my life out down south finished, I wanted to come back to Scotland. This is why I love Scotland. I love its people, I love the climate, I love the scenery, love everything about Scotland. And I came back in 2008. I said to my nephew, by my first marriage, Helen's nephew as well, I said to Kenneth, who lived in Glasgow at the time, I said, I'd like to go back to Peoples. I said, because I know Peoples. He says, well, I said, but there's no flats there at the moment. He says, why don't you try Largs? He says, it's a little town, about the size of Peoples. I think you'll like it, he says. I phoned up here on the phone and bought this flat over the phone. Never saw it, just bought it over the phone.
And you've been here ever since?
I was at 08, 09, talking to people here about the wartime and everything else. I said, I'd like to go back to the bridge, the River Kwai. I'd like to go back to it to see it all again. And the people here said, well, why don't you, Jack? You're single. But I'd met Maddie. See? I'd met Maddie. But I decided to go.
Right.
I went down to see Bannon, because the little girl's name down Bannon. Banner was her name, in the shop, in the toll agent, down at the pier there. Said I wanted a trip back to the River Kwai.
Yeah.
I want it in style. I want it on the Orient Express. Last time I went to up there to the railway, I went in a cattle truck. I want to go on the Orient Express. And that was all arranged. It cost me about £5,000, but I didn't mind, because the government at that time gave me £10,000. Don't you remember? Tony Blair's government gave the ex-president of war £10,000. That's the only money we got. So I spent half my money from Tony Blair on the trip back to the Kwai.
Did you travel alone?
Travel alone. I was nearly 90, 89. Travel alone. She arranged it all. I had people waiting me at stations, waiting to cart me here, cart me there in a car, and there's people with placards, Mr. Ranson, It was all done very well.
First class.
And I got back, saw it all again. Bangkok, Singapore, Kanchanaburi again. saw the graves of my men, saw it all again.
Yeah.
Came back. Maddie didn't think she'd ever see me again, but she did. Came back, and we got married in '47 down at the hotel down the coast.
And how did you propose? Tell me about that.
That was a long drawn out affair. We met, as you know, in Morrison's supermarket.
Yep.
I used to go with the ladies here for afternoon tea on a Thursday. But before I did that, in the Thursday afternoon, I used to go up to buy my little bit of groceries up at the Morrison's. And I went up to Morrison's to get my groceries, more than many in a basket. And I always use the baskets only checkout, because I only had a few groceries in the basket. And this woman was in front of me. She's here, behind me. And I went to pick a sweetie up from the counter, the checkout, and then decided no, I wouldn't.
Right.
And she turned around and said, "I'd like to see a man who has a mind of his own," or words to that effect.
With a bit of willpower.
That has willpower.
With a bit of willpower.
So she paid for her groceries in the basket, and I paid for mine. Then we had a little chat outside. And then we had an argument. Because, you see, she said, "I live in a McCartney and Stone residence place,
Right.
Home Mount."
Okay.
But I didn't know that Home Mount existed.
Right.
And she didn't know that the new McCartney and Stone was here. What made it worse, she lived in number 3, and I lived in number 3. So she says, "I live in number 3, McCartney and Stone." And I thought to myself, she's telling a fib. I live in number 3, McCartney and Stone. So there was an argument, until we both realised there was 2 McCartney and Stone. Now, how can that be?
Oh, fate.
Fate.
Fate, absolutely.
And I knew that he was a Sassenach because he said, anyone else would have said, "Would you care to join me for lunch the following week?" He said, "Would you care to come for a bowl of soup?"
That's what I used to take, a bowl of soup. So she got an invitation to come for a bowl of soup.
There you go.
And surprise, she turned up. And really, that's where it started.
A blind date.
Blind date with a bowl of soup.
Will I go? Will I not go?
Oh,
God, that's wonderful.
so you courted for how long before you proposed?
Well, we got married. That was the end of... I came back from the...
I didn't think I would see him.
No, it was only a matter of months before we decided to get married, really. And we got married at... What was the name of the place we got married there?
The Sea Mill High.
Sea Mill
Oh,
High.
it's lovely in there.
2010. That's my daughter got married to Sea Mill Hydro in 2010.
That's right, yeah. So you spent time with the Legion branches,
I don't like
Jack?
Well, I joined... The Legion here was brought back.
Yeah.
And I joined them because I was always wanted to join the British Legion. I was a member of the British Legion in Peebles. I also, for a time, was in the British Legion in Birmingham too. So I joined here and enjoyed it, and I still do. But unfortunately, I've had to miss the evening meetings now because my day finishes at 5:30. I can't. I get very tired at 5:30.
Neither of us drive now, so we don't get allowed.
During the day, I'm all right. And next week, we have the, parade on.
Festival, yeah.
And I during the day, I'll go down to the tent.
Yeah.
And I sold poppies. I sold poppies in my age. I must be one of the oldest poppy sailors, I think, at 99.
Definitely, aye.
I'll be up at Morrison's because something I can do during the day.
Yeah.
But my day now ends at 5:30, 6. I have a late meal at 5:30, and I'm dozing away then. I drop off. I go. I like to see the news at 10 o'clock, but then I'm away. But
are you allowed to have?
But of course, I don't go to the evening meetings now, but I participate as much as I can. They asked me to be president,
right?
Because I'm the oldest bugger. Let's face it. That's right. No, I'm president. I'm the oldest, so I'm president, and I enjoy being president. And that's how life is.
What advice would you give, Jack, to any young men or women who are thinking about enlisting?
Enlisting? That's a difficult question. I mean, when I came back in beginning of 1939, I said to my father, remember that he had been in 4 years in France, my father, also in the artillery. Royal Horse Artillery, in fact. He was deaf as a post because he sat on a gun. He was a gun layer, he was a corporal in the Royal Horse Artillery. I mean, he must have fired thousands and thousands of rounds, and he on an 18-pounder, and the 18-pounder made a very nasty crack. He was stoned to death from that. The only person that could get through to him was my mother, who had a voice like a foghorn. Story about that is my mother used to come out the back door of our house. We got a lovely house eventually. 1935 was the year when they started building houses, and everybody moved out of Deptford and Greenwich and went to what they call was the country, but it was going out as far as Eltham and these places in Kent. And my mother and father shoved down the deposit and bought a nice little semi-detached house out in the country, as they called it. My father loved his garden. And my father used to come to the back door, and he was stone deaf, as I say, and be working in the garden. We had a long garden. And she used to scream, "Fred!" That is his name, Fred. "Come and get your tea." And all the men that used to be working in the gardens used to come in for their tea. All the gardens all used to come in for their bloody tea. Because my mother's voice was so penetrating.
Oh, wow.
Because she was quite a card, my mother.
Good character.
Good character, yeah.
Which brings me on to, if you had a choice to spend a day with someone, alive or dead, who would it be and why?
Who would I spend it with? This is somebody new, because I spend my days with Maddie and I wouldn't miss them for the world.
Well, he goes to the church every Sunday.
I go to the
morning,
church now. I've started going to the church.
He goes with a few ladies from here, just to the church across the street.
Yeah.
They're not quite sure in the church, I think, who I'm married to. It's not my fault. I feel as a gentleman I should escort them across the road to the church. Maddie doesn't always come. She comes on occasions. Because, look, let's face it, I'm 99. Yeah. Maddie is getting on too. I don't know if she wants to tell her. She's my young wife.
Told us.
She's 88.
88.
Well, she's 88. I'm 99.
Yeah.
We've no helpers.
No, it's amazing.
We've no helpers. So Maddie has to do all the washing, the bedding, the linen, and my grub, looking after me. She looks after me very well. And she has to clean and the bedding to do. So she can't come every Sunday. So I can get every Sunday. But the trouble is, of course, I escort the women from here who go across to the church. Are you
sure it's you that escorts them?
Well, I escort them because I open the doors for them and they see them in. Now, so I don't think the people at first. I think you've got a good idea now, haven't they, Maddie?
Oh yes, I've made that clear.
You made that. But I think at first they weren't quite sure who I was married to. But they've been put in the picture now. But
dearie me.
you got me. Ask me a question here. I like to be the Queen.
You would like that would be your
That's what I would like to do.
perfect ending, would it? Just to
Gary,
the Queen.
Gary, the photo though, reckons he can fix it.
All right. Okay.
But I don't know that he can.
Mm.
I know he's in with these photographs.
Yeah.
He's in with him.
Yeah.
He's written a letter to the Queen,
All right. Okay.
sending my book.
Uh-huh.
He does a lot of stuff for me.
Mm-hmm. How are
And she
you for
And we've had a
traveling?
letter back from my lady in waiting.
Oh, right. Okay.
We've had a letter back from my lady in waiting.
Right.
She's aware of me, I think. But
Right.
whether I ever get to meet her, I don't know. But I would love to.
And are you okay to say if you were invited down to Buckingham Palace? Would you be okay to travel
No, not really. My hope is that she comes here.
to Holyrood or?
We
Well,
would have to be picked up
we would have to be
and
picked
taken
up.
back.
Yeah.
That could be arranged, no doubt.
Yeah.
But no, I'd like to meet the Queen. I've always wanted to meet the Queen because I have
We've
a
met
great
Princess
admiration.
Anne.
I have a great
We're
imagination for somebody to get to her age through all the trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
Same way I've got through trials and tribulations and got to 99.
Yeah.
When I'm 100, she'll be 94.
That's right.
And I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's done exceptionally well, and she's had more, in a way, just as hectic life as I've had.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yes.
When you think about it,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
I think she's got a job with Andrew just now.
Mm-hmm.
she got a job, full stop.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Busy.
So
Yeah. Well, that.
when I went back to Thailand in 2009,
Mm-hmm.
I'd got together a kind of a scrapbook,
Mm-hmm.
and I took it back, took it with me. And when I went to the museum at Kanchanaburi, I met the Australian who looked after it there at the museum, on the bridge, Rod Betty. He gave me a book and he gave me things. And I said to Rod, I said, here, take my scrapbook. I said, I'm just about 90. I said, with my war experience, I don't think I'll live much longer. I said, here's my scrapbook, keep it here.
Right.
And that scrapbook is still there at the museum because people have been to there, they've seen it.
Wow.
I've seen your scrapbook, yeah, Jack. So I came away thinking that was it.
Uh-huh.
I'd made up 4 scrapbooks since.
So that's
So
what
you
found
see, here
here.
you are.
Wow.
Now the first photograph, of course, you know that.
There she is.
That's Kevin's.
That's a lovely photo.
And that's the new flags that we put in the church.
Ah, right. Okay.
That's when the Legion was brought back here in Lark.
Right.
And that's again now flags at the church here on the other side of the road, and I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
So there you are, you see.
Wow.
And then I'll be going my glasses. Now, when I go on parade, I wear my own medals, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes I wear the medals of my father and his 2 brothers, 2 uncles. So all the medals on my chest have got the name Ranson.
Mm-hmm.
My father, his 2 brothers, and mine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't always wear them, but the one the medal I like to wear is my father's youngest brother, Robert John Ranson, same as me, known as Jack, same as me, killed at the age of 19 at the Battle of Amiens, First Battle of Amiens, 1918, age 19. When my father came back in 1919, after 4 years in the trenches, and I was born in
Because
1920.
he moved
My father said to my mother,
he had asthma and there's lots
he used to
of
have the same name
there,
as Jack,
but she's now in a care
his
home.
younger brother, killed at 19.
The start of senile.
So you see, these are all the details.
And Jack
So here you have,
Did you read this out when you're
run when she was younger.
doing parades or things like that?
well, they know about it.
Harriers
Yeah.
and glass.
So there you are.
And this was a young man. He used to
That's him.
pistol in the noon, and she used to run.
Same name as me. I was named
the
after him.
noon stadium was
So it's his two medals.
April, can you pass me that candle, please?
So it's his two medals that I wear.
Right.
Never got the third. He wasn't there. He didn't get the victory medal because he wasn't there at the victory medal. Never got the victory medal. Got the two medals. And of course, he was killed at the German offensive in the spring of 1918. Now, I don't know the history of both wars. The Germans did exactly in the First World War what they did in the Second World War.
We can't phone her.
They made a last-ditch attempt to turn the tide of war.
With his mobile
In
phone.
1918, they tried with the spring offensive. The idea was to break through the lines, turn right, and take the Channel ports.
His name was Jack.
It failed. And Hitler must have known about that because he tried the same trick
No point in
in 1944, winter. Battle of the Bulge. He tried to break the line, turn right to the Channel ports, and again it failed. Absolutely identical. The First World War and the Second World War. I don't know whether most people realise that.
No, not so.
So here's his records, you see.
They can't reason.
Rifleman Robert John Ransom. There's mine, Robert John Ransom.
Wow.
You see.
You just sit there as if you're
So
reading
the
it.
two side by side,
Yeah.
you see. There's his medals, there's mine.
You want the light off?
No, it's fine, thanks.
Fascinating. Hearing people's memories.
And there's numerous photographs of me, of course. That's me as a boy.
Oh, wow.
That's when I was
What
19.
age? 19.
19.
My Uncle Willie.
As a total army.
Burma. Great Uncle Willie was in Burma as well.
There's the two medals belonging to the other Robert John Ransom, you see.
Right.
Those are the ones I always wear. Sometimes I wear my father and the other brother, but that's the ones I wear because I bear his name. And then, of course, you know, photographs of me with John Hutchison, you know him, don't you? You know all these people. Yeah. So, see, I've been able to. This is on the boat dropping the reef. See, these things I attend. There's Nadia and I on parade. The funny thing was, John was behind with a dog, and everybody thinks, sorry.
No, you stay in there.
John Hutchison was behind the dog, and everybody sees that photograph, thinks the dog belongs to Maddie. Nothing to do with it.
No.
You got, some bodies anytime you like that. This is on. Now, where was that? Oh, that's over in. That's Millport, isn't it? No, it's Largs.
Oh, that's Largs.
That's Largs, yeah. That's the one in the snow, winter.
It's a bit blistery there as well.
Remember when we gave a prize to two children?
Oh.
And I gave the present of prizes to the children.
Yeah.
Yeah, here you are.
Oh, I done that.
mentioning about Aiden.
That's where we went.
2017, I
No,
think.
they
I don't know.
didn't talk about
2017.
anything when they come back.
Yeah.
There's a letter from
I
Nice.
don't know what happened to the
the
private
private
secretary.
secretary. So I keep these things because I'm a great royalist.
Definitely.
I mean, it might be a.
Neighbours in the house somewhere.
Now that was when the Queen reached 90, and I had in the Daily Mail in 2016. I wrote a letter
There and my grandpa.
to the Daily Mail. That's it. I hope your 90s is as enjoyable as mine. But if you took that advice, I have no
The
idea.
River Kwai was watching the film.
Watching a bit of that, right?
That was in the. What was that in? That was in the Larks paper. That.
Oh.
That's made it
Love
nice.
for Veteran Jack Surprise from Princess Anne.
There's Gary.
Hmm.
Gary.
Well, I hate taking my photographs. I never got my photograph.
Oh, that's a lovely photo.
Yes, that's-
Wow.
Helen, because
That's beautiful.
Well, you weren't allowed to wear any medals at a garden party.
That's
You
right, I know.
I'm not
didn't understand that.
interested in
Yeah, there's the two medals there. That's better photograph. That's the two medals you see.
Right.
because I haven't had
You
any.
see it better.
Jack
than that.
Ranson, Jack
Yeah.
Ranson.
To me when I was young. Yeah. Yeah.
What other lights?
Now that's a chap.
That's right. Yeah.
That's the American.
Yeah.
All right.
I met, when I was in Bangkok, I met 3 Americans at the Bamboo Bar at the hotel,
Hmm.
and he was Attorney General of Missouri.
Does Jack have any family?
Attorney General of Missouri.
That's why.
And he stood for governor in that last year
Yeah.
because he was supposed to get the governorship. If you run in America, if you are the Attorney General and you stand for being governor in the state next year, you normally get it.
Right.
But of course, it was Trump's year, and he is a Democrat.
Ah,
He's a Democrat.
right.
So the Republicans trounced the Democrats, so he never got it, unfortunately, because he was a great chap. You'll find he did the preface to my book when you come to
Ah,
your book.
right.
You'll see that in there.
You know, you can go beside that.
So
Remember
as what a radio.
you remember that chap, the airman,
Oh.
Dambusters man.
Yes.
I don't
You
remember him.
managed that okay.
Oh,
That
that's
was the Dambusters.
Spud.
Spud, yeah. That was the Dambusters man.
Oh,
Oh,
that's a
As
good
is-
photo.
As is with the cupcakes.
Fantastic.
Remember the cupcakes?
That's a brilliant photo.
over myself all the time.
That's the Terry.
So who's this?
That's John Hutchinson, the man that was blind and he did the glasses for.
Oh, they were talking about him in
Yeah,
the Breakfast Club.
yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever come along to any
No,
of
no, I
the
haven't done. I should do it, actually. It was
every Tuesday morning?
Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
10 o'clock Tuesday morning.
Then I did an article in the Legion's magazine in spring of 19.
You can walk there.
Oh, it's in that's that one. That's Helen.
Is it?
That's Helen.
Wow. Wait.
Well, it was a picture photograph of somebody. I don't know.
Wow.
And he went.
That's in the magazine, spring of 19, spring 17. Sorry, yeah. That's John and I
Jack does.
again.
He's no use in the dark. In fact, he told them straight, I'll do anything to help.
Oh, that's
in the
lovely.
daytime, but not
I didn't know.
at night,
Yeah, that's a really
because
good.
they only then
But then you see photographs.
say that's up at one time.
No, that's
You know, they up there.
Wow.
And it's
First World War.
to get in and out there.
Wow.
No power.
See that man there?
So they are
That's my father.
things that
Oh, wow.
Oh, yes, it's a disgrace. In fact,
That's my father. Looking back,
dog thing,
I said to to me, looking back at me,
Mhm.
I don't know, but that's my father, and he's 18 pounds a
I
guy
think it was
on the Western
when
Front
he got it. And
as
then
his crew.
Mhm.
right,
He was, that's my father, Fred Ranson.
What age was he there?
Well,
So he took this one.
he probably was about 22, probably. I don't know.
Wow.
He died from lung cancer because he smoked.
Mm.
He all smoked, First World War.
Yeah.
The only way of getting through the First
That's
World
right.
War was to have a cigarette.
Yeah.
So he died of lung cancer.
That nice day.
Deaf as a post.
Just run from the fish shop.
So I've got details on, yeah.
Not there onto the pavement.
There's another, that's on my mother's side, Samuel Carr. Went down with the HMS Surprise.
Do you mind if
I
I
lost
take a
4
photo
uncles.
of that, Jack?
And he had a bag of my shopping in the basket of the bag.
And that's another one, you see. There's another one
Deal
going.
without all these things now.
Henry Carr.
So this is why
That's Samuel Carr and that Tom. My maternal grandmother,
somebody wants
that's where I get my old age from. My maternal grandmother lived to 97.
Wow.
Now, they all say that if that's a secret of longevity. Your maternal grandmother.
Right.
If your maternal grandmother lived to a good old age, you should. That's what I reckon. Whether it's true or not, I've no idea.
Okay.
You see, I lost 4 uncles who I never saw. First World War, 4 uncles were killed in the First World War. 2 on my mother's side, 2 on my father's side. 4 uncles. I never saw them. They were dead.
Wow.
That's how life was.
Tough, man. Very tough.
He was in Royal West Kents. He was in the Navy, obviously.
Jack, these ladies have slaughtered of the lunch.
Oh,
Oh, they are.
that's this Millport.
Oh, is that Morrison's?
That's Morrison.
Yeah.
Taking it. I'll be out there in November. So you see, it's so much. So
Oh,
much.
that's a nice one.
There's us again. That's our nephew here from Christmas.
Right.
There's Kevin again.
Kevin.
I've got so many photographs now with people that I've met.
And he also goes to the Royal.
Now, the Standard Life, who I work for, they eventually amalgamated, as you know, with the
Interviewing Prince Edward.
As you do.
As you do. And
investment company.
I said, Kevin, you do the land in the Tower of London. The address is Jack.
God, man. This is what I lose it now and then. Aberdeen.
And he added the
Aberdeen Investment Company. So it's Standard Life Aberdeen now.
even the postman saying so Jack.
See, that's a cracker. All the medals there.
That's all the medals.
All of
yeah.
them. Right.
Now you see, that's there's my father. There's Harry Carr in the Navy, and that's the 2. Yeah.
Right.
That's a prisoner of war medal. That's a prisoner of war one. Signifying that, well, along with that, signifies a prisoner of war. And now that, did you know
Beautiful
that?
colour.
Did you know that last year the Scottish Legion, Royal Legion Scotland, fought out their own time?
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
So
that.
if you're in the Legion,
You're
in the Legion in Scotland,
Yeah.
you can get your own personal tartan, Legion tartan, and that's the tartan. And you can get a pair of shoes made,
Right.
or you can get a kilt made.
She wasn't allowed in
Wow.
it.
Did you not know that?
No.
But after he died.
No, I don't think any of us.
Well, it came out in the magazine.
And I'm right for it.
Well,
That is a beautiful
you
colour, isn't it?
Well, yeah. And I've got me tartan trousers.
You've got a
No,
kilt.
well, okay. No, I haven't got
No.
a kilt. No, don't go that far, mate. But you should, if you want a plaid or,
Oh, that'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
yeah,
That would be nice.
but it's a beautiful tartan.
It is. It's absolutely beautiful.
Now, I wear that on occasions.
I wouldn't like to.
When I wear, as you know, 2018 was the 100th anniversary of the armistice. That's why I'm wearing all that. That's the armistice parade. 2018, and I wore the trousers.
I'm just trying to make it. That one says, it's Largs Legion. Because I noticed you had the president one on, but
You right. You get in touch with
actually.
So they're not promoting that.
No.
They use one tartan manufacturer in.
We're watching a program.
Get the name of them.
Refugees.
They use only one company that's holding the by the way, call it a real a tartan. But you write the company, and I got my trousers made by them. Now, as I say, the Aberdeen, the Aberdeen people and the Standard amalgamated, and I wrote to them and says, I hope you're going to acknowledge the fact that it's the anniversary of the armistice, because members of the Standard lost their lives in that, and they invited me through. And that's the ceremony in Edinburgh at 3 George Street, and I appeared with other representatives at that. These are people that died in the Standard in that war.
Come and see us here. And I said, no, it's too soon. He doesn't understand. So
I said, you have that. I think that.
You keep them in the cruise. I don't know about that.
There's about Princess Mary. Queen Mary, sorry. Queen Mary. And the school I went to.
My grandpa was like that. And she got him started to get going.
Right, Jack, can you
so
this
much.
for me,
In there you'll find, you'll find a photograph. Also,
he got his first job in Tinnerbrew as a chemist, and was there for 40 years.
Well, I get a phone to the 2 years together today.
there's a forward by that Attorney General. Oh yes, and there's a map of the railway. That's where I was. Goes past. You'll get the book back. So there you are. I was up there, you see, and that's the base camp at Kanchanpuri. And that's Singapore Island. Most people think of Singapore Island as a rock. It wasn't. It's the size of the Isle of Wight. I mean, Isle of Wight. There you are. That's your book.
No, I need you to sign it.
Oh yes.
Definitely.
Now, what do you want? To
Suzanne. SUZANNE.
That's spelled S-U.
SUZANNE. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Jack. Thank you.
I think that was in the Scottish Field in 2009. People have.
Is this family here?
Yeah. That's Helen.
Right.
That's Joyce, my second wife. I've been married 3 times. Joyce and I, we got on quite well, but it was London, and she was from the Midlands, nice lassie. But I love Scotland. That's the trouble. You get in Scotland ingrained in your lifetime. You never think of anything else. Because I don't. That's when I met the
Patricia.
SMP, and also Lady Hunterson. I don't.
I like seeing the girl boy. It's funny that you mentioned that it's taken. So they were actually just speaking of it.
I'm trying to see anything different. We're all the same.
Yeah.
I met, that's the lady I met when I was on with.
Oh, he was really funny.
She was a famous woman during the Second World War.
Right.
Well, not during the Second War, it's after that. She came from Holland,
Lucky you caught us.
and
Yeah.
she parachuted
Yeah.
at the time that the Americans were using napalm in the, and she was assigned to Vietnam in 1966, and I met her.
No.
I met her at a cafe in Thailand, and we had a good chat about the war and what she did. And she was, her life was, she dropped by parachute.
And even some of the delivery people.
Reminiscences about the war in Vietnam with the napalm.
By the time they deliver,
Remember the picture that
get into the lift,
sometimes I published of the little girl that was burning
they leave it open, thinking
in
that they'll
Vietnam.
open
It was
it.
napalm. It was terrible.
Sometimes it is.
She wrote about that. And she and I chatted about that.
But I mean, security.
You know, about the horrors of war.
That's what you're paying for in here. Yeah.
That's my sister-in-law. She died. The last thing she wanted to do when she was in a nursing home. She lastly wanted to read my Scottish Cockney, so that's her reading of the Scottish Cockney.
What's your favourite song or musical piece, Jack, that we can play on the radio for you?
Well, I like the old tunes, I must say. I don't go with modern music.
Yeah.
I don't like classical music. I don't like modern jazz. But I do like the old songs, you know.
Okay.
I mean, a great follow like old people were in my era.
Like Doris.
Vera Lynn.
Vera.
So that goes.
Okay.
That was a music experience.
Oh, wow.
That's on the Orient Express.
Oh,
I'll be seeing Jack.
That's on my bucket list.
Oh,
I'd love to do that.
We do.
Yeah.
Orient Express, Eastern Orient Express.
Wow.
And these are the, well, exactly dancing girls. Oh, that's me in the massage parlour.
What is it all getting into here?
On the Orient Express?
No. I better tell more about that. When I was in Bangkok, I met a chap in the Bamboo Bar, along with the Americans, and over a glass or two, he says to me, Jack, he says, have you seen Bangkok yet? And I said, well, no, I haven't really. I've just gone down the road and looked at shops. He says, come with me tomorrow. He says, I'll introduce you to the real Bangkok. So off we set off about 10 o'clock in the morning. That's him. First of all, I find out that he's got two houses. One in Bangkok and one in Shanghai. And in each house, he's got a lady friend who manages the house. So he's a trader in the Far East.
Right.
So he's got a house in Bangkok and a house in Shanghai. And each of them, he's got his lady friend looking after the house, keeping it clean, which presumably, in his journeys, he visited each of them from time to time. I'll take you to see Bangkok, he says. So I find out, you see, and off I go with him, and we go around Bangkok, down the side streets. And I'm worn out. We stop he says, thing about Bangkok, he says, you've got the taste of food. He said, but don't have a big meal. He says, just have little snacks. He says, well, walk for half an hour, look at the shop, have a snack, have a drink, and go on. We did that most of the day. Having a little snack here and a little snack. And on the roadside cafes, you see, in Bangkok itself. So I'm worn out. So about 6 o'clock, I said, I think we could better get back to the hotel. I said, I'm worn out. He says, it's your feet. I said, yeah, they're burning. My feet are burning. He says, and it was the other thing. He says, well, go for a massage. So I looked at him. I said, massage? He says, feet only. So we go to this massage parlour where everybody seemed to know him. So we go in.
Which is what, Ian?
Yeah, it's a big one. So we're lying back on the chaise or chaise longue or whatever it is, and they go have a go at your feet. It was lovely, you know, cool oils, perfumes, massage. I came out a new man. In my feet, I mean. So he says to them, he says to the staff in there, well, you've just made an old soldier of 90 very happy. Oh, they want their photograph. So they all came out, and we were taken out to the front, and they all insisted on having their photograph. So this is that chap there, I think, is the proprietor. These are the girls. You see, there's my friend, and there am I, and somebody stuck up 2 fingers at there. But I don't know what that's about. Who put that up there? I don't know where that's come from.
That's this lass here.
You think it's
like that?
No,
yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, that's the photograph. Body treatment, you see. That's the photograph outside. So anyway, of course, everybody just laughs when I show them that. That's outside the massage parlour.
Okay.
Just feet only.
Just feet. Yeah.
Just feet only, you see. So that was taken.
Good
So
memories.
that's a great thing.
How long ago was that?
09.
09.
09. Do I look younger there? Yeah, I suppose I did.
Yep.
I don't know whether I do or not. No, I look a bit younger. 10 years ago.
Well, I certainly wouldn't say that you look the age that you are. That's for sure.
A doorbell.
Absolutely not.
He's thinking that's a
You look
doorbell.
amazing for your age.
That was
Absolutely
on
amazing.
That was on all night.
Right, Jack, I am not going to take up any more of your time.
No.
Thank you so much for chatting to us at Veteran Voices.
You got your book, haven't you?
And I've got my book, and now I'm
That,
going to...
that's the thing. I'm trying to emphasise at the moment.
I've got to take it before any.
Take another one. I can take that. Right, brilliant. Thank you.
Make copies of that.
Right, I'll read that properly when I...
Kevin's taken that too. Kevin McGahey's taken it because he feels
He
he wants to bring that to the notice of, I think, Prince Charles. He may bring it to the notice of Prince Charles, who's going to the new emperor's enthronement.
Oh, aye.
That's the word I'm
Yeah, and
trying to
he's trying to
think
get
of
you...
that. Enthronement. The new
Yeah.
emperor's enthronement in October.
Right.
Prince Charles is going to that because I would like, I think, in
Thank
view of the
you.
fact I worked for 3.5 years for his grandfather, Hirohito, yes. In view of the fact I worked for his grandfather for 3.5 years, I think not only the Queen should give me a birthday card, but I think the Emperor should give me a birthday card. I really do.
Absolutely.
After all. Yeah, there you are, you better go.
Thank you very much. Right, we're going to get a
Does that really
little
help you
photo.
I'm sorry I'm a bit of time,
amazing.
so my memory jogs now.
No.
I have a bit of trouble.
Absolutely
My
brilliant.
chief fault was remembering names.